Morning peeps, I'm just coming on for a quick video here. I've got about 5 or 10 minutes. I've just been for a run, done a 5k, and just thought I'd talk about Fernandez and Sterling for a bit because I've got this thing where I do not accept price falls and I always take the player out if they're going to drop in price, etc. But this is one of those exceptions to the rule. I mean, I cannot take Fernandez out this week. It's an international break. I've only got one free transfer. I've got no wild card in my pocket. I've got an injured player on my bench. So there is absolutely no way I can use my one free transfer on the first day of the international break when half my players haven't even played yet. And then they're all jetting off all over the world. So there's no way I can use my free transfer to take out Fernandez. It would just be bad play. So he's going to have to stay. I'm going to have to wear the zero point 0.1 loss. It's not too hard. I mean, I've already built up over 103 million in team value, so it's not going to kill me. But I'm going to have to wear this one. It just would be stupid to take him out, to be honest. If I had two free transfers or a wild card in my pocket, I may well do it. But otherwise, it's just not sensible. As for Sterling, now peeps, I've got to talk to you about this because I've taken some flack today. Lots of flack. Because I was one of the people saying all during the week that there was a good possibility or even a probability that Sterling would not play this week. You know, Chelsea won last week. Madrid scored. Palmer looked really good. I thought it was very sensible for Poch to just keep the same team that played last week and for Sterling to start on the bench. And it just wasn't my opinion. I mean, I went and looked up a lot of what Chelsea in the nose was saying, and everybody was pretty much in agreement. Sterling, useless, and shouldn't be back in the team this week. None of them, of course, are the manager. I'm not the manager. And, someone came, I was busy celebrating on Twitter because I've been watching Chelsea all season and had nothing but bitter disappointment. You know, a string of one-pointers from Jackson and Sterling. And this is the first match I've watched where I've come away happy with points. And so you can forgive me for going on Twitter and celebrating. You know, yes, I did nearly bench him. I nearly benched him for Anderson. Up until the last 10 minutes before I went to bed, Anderson was actually in my team because I did not think Sterling would play. And what changed my mind was that I thought I cannot watch that Chelsea game on the if Sterling does start. And I thought, well, even if Sterling gets half an hour, he's probably going to get a few points and Anderson's probably going to blank anyway. You know, like Anderson only like a 32% chance of getting a clean sheet or whatever. So I thought I'll risk it. I'll put Sterling in. Otherwise, I just won't be able to enjoy watching that Chelsea game. And it was unbelievable, you know, sitting there watching it. He started on the left for the first time this season, his best position. He was absolutely unbelievable once he got going. You know, I know it's Burnley, like it was Luton. And Sterling does have history of battering promoted teams and doing bugger all the rest of the time. And he's been doing it for years. And so he's very inconsistent. But you've got to forgive me, peeps, for celebrating it because someone came on Twitter and had a go at me. They didn't really have a go at me. They told me that they took him out on my advice because they trust what I say. They trust that I know more about Chelsea than they do. And I was saying he probably wouldn't start. Well, the probability, in my opinion, was that he wouldn't start. I still stick with that. But he did start. I'm not always right. Nobody's always right. But you've got to remember, people, that it is your own teams. You know, listen to me, but get back up. You know, take a range of opinions and then make up your mind. I think this week, if you got other opinions, they would have been the same as mine. You know, which was that Sterling was a good sell. So, please don't bring me down and blame me and all this. You know, because I've got your best interest at heart. I never deliberately mislead people. And so it's a bit upsetting for me that somebody came out and said this. You know, I can understand it. You know, they're obviously upset that they've missed out on Sterling's points and that. But please don't blame me, peeps, you know, because it is your own teams. And my advice is well-meaning, but don't just do what I say. Take advice from a number of sources and make your own minds up. Because I was the one telling everybody to buy sterling. Remember, before Luton, I was the only one because he'd been rubbish. I was the only one who'd spotted that he was starting to show a bit of form and looked a good pick for that Luton game. And some people bought him in on my advice and got a shitload of points. I think they got 19 points. So you've got to take the rough with the smooth. Don't be overcritical when I am wrong. Because I'm wrong a lot. We all are. And FPL's a very sort of game where we're wrong a lot, aren't we? I mean, look at Sun this week. A lot of people captained Sun, including myself, and it didn't work out, But how are we to know that a player is going to get sent off? It's the same when Man City the other week. I had 3 Man City attackers. Rodri got sent off, and we all ended up with no extra points when we were looking like we were going to get a big hauls from our Man City players. So there's huge variance in FPL, absolutely huge. And, look at Pickford. Pickford this week. A lot of people got rid of him on the wild card. And he got a haul. He got like 9 points or whatever. If he'd fallen at 0.1 last night instead of probably today, a lot of people might have kept him because he would have only been 4.3 million. But it just shows, a lot of sterling was falling in price, Pickford falling in price. People were selling them. And it's justifiable. I mean, you can't account for variance. You can't keep Fernandes for the entire season just on the off chance that he's going to score. So at some point you have to decide that enough's enough. People have had blanks after blank from Sterling, and the possibility of he wouldn't start was enough for a lot of people to sell him. But please, peeps, just don't blame me, because it's not my fault. Really, it's not your fault. It's just variance and unpredictability. Because this game, if it can kick you in the teeth, this game will do it. It will, and it does it all the time. So you've got to kind of be mentally tuned into the fact that a lot of the time things go against you. Logical things go against you. You can do the right things and get the wrong outcome so many times. Nothing's worse for FPL. I mean, poker's probably be a bit similar, wouldn't it? You could make a lot of right decisions and get wrong outcomes a lot in poker. But over thousands of hands, you're going to do well. And it's the same with FPL. Over thousands of weeks, your good decisions play out. But with 10 million people, I put it to you that 38 weeks is no longer enough time for right decisions to play out. So we have to accept that sometimes we're going to have really bad seasons, even though we basically play well. Because, like I said, with 10 million people, there's so much luck in this game, but it doesn't work out. It used to, when there was only a million people playing, generally skill would come through more because there were less random teams around that were going to benefit when something unexpected happens. But now it's kind of, someone somewhere has probably triple captained Sterling. And you just got to accept that variance is part of the game. And the thing you mustn't do, peeps, is panic, because it is an international week. And like yours, this team here is looking pretty reasonable for this week. I haven't even looked at the fixtures yet, really, for next week, but this team looking all right. So really, there's no point to take a early transfer on just because Fernandes is messed up. If you've got 2 Man United, you might want to move one on, possibly. But Sheffield United next is you're not going to get many better fixtures than that, are you? So the best thing to do, I think, is forget about what's happened and concentrate on what might happen next week, because it's such a frustrating game, this. I would have been in the minority, I think, to have Sterling. Many more people would have sold him by now and will be pissed off. So it's understandable people are annoyed when I go on there shouting about his points. But when I've had nothing but misery from Chelsea for weeks, Yeah, and you've got to forgive me, peeps. So I don't know if there's anything else we can waffle on about. I'll have a quick 2 minutes, I think. So have a look at some prices, what's going to happen. Like I said, it's International Week. You're not going to want to move too early. But it looks like Sun, Hoyland are very blanked. Turner's still going up. He got another clean sheet, didn't he? Turner doing well. Ariola might finally get his rise in the next 2 weeks. Anderson, he's another one heading towards 5 million. Whole load of people dropping. Looks like Haaland could be one of them. Pickford's still in the drop zone, which would be weird if he goes down. Probably won't. There's a lot of people not actually dropping when it says it would at the moment because there's a big effect with wildcards and stuff. And the other thing you've got to remember, in an international week, price changes dry up. After the first 1 or 2 days, price changes literally dry up. There's very, very few. You'll have days and days where a player will be hovering on minus 98 or whatever, and they won't actually fall in price. So I don't know what Fernandez is doing. He's on minus 100.1, so he might well not even fall, to be honest, today, because there will be some component of wildcards in there. And there are going to be, after tomorrow, there's going to be virtually no movement. So who are they going to be buying if they get rid of him? I suppose we don't know that yet, do we? I don't think they'll be buying Sterling. But I don't know who they'll be buying, to be honest. Because, let's have a quick look. Might want a Liverpool player, could still be the order of the day, couldn't it? If you've still got Mbeumo, you might want to keep him. Man City, I reckon that's a good fixture against Brighton. So I won't be wanting to sell any of their assets, probably. Forest have got Luton this week. But are you going to be buying any Forest players? Probably not. Chelsea, Arsenal, like I said, if you've got Sterling, I don't think you sell him for this one. Chelsea have got their tails up. And it's against teams at Park the Bus that they have the most problem with. They look good against Liverpool early in the season. They might well look good against Arsenal too. United, see, this is a fixture. They've got the best fixture next week. I put maybe Tottenham. Tottenham home to Fulham's a cracking fixture. So you can see that Tottenham assets are still going to be in demand. You're not going to want to sell any of them. Would you captain Son next week? I don't think I would. I would if I didn't have... Well, who would you captain? You'd probably captain Salah, to be honest, if you didn't have Haaland. Over captaining Son. But, you're certainly not going to get rid of any of them, are you? So Villa home to West Ham. Decent. So basically, you are not going to be selling your Man United midfielders this week, I think. Because who are you going to get that's better? Who are you going to get that's a better option? Because chances are you've already got Maddison and Son anyway. And if you've got 2 Man United midfielders, selling Rashford for Son would make sense. But you probably would have already done it if you were going to do it. So that's about it, I think. It's like, it doesn't look like there's any big swings next week. People talking about swings on wildcard. Obviously, there's Salah. I mean, we haven't seen how he does against Brighton yet, have we? But, he's obviously an option. Everton is starting to look decent. I think Dyke, or Dyche, or however you pronounce it, his pattern of creating good defences, it might be starting to work for Everton now. But obviously Salah's a good option, but you're not going to rip your team up to get him in, I think. It's good to still have Trippier. Home to Palace. Could be a clean sheet there, couldn't there? Palace not looking great offensively. Especially with Eze out. So, steady as she goes, I think. Anyway, peeps, that's it. I'm off now. Had enough. And, listen to me, but don't listen to me, if you know what I mean. Listen to me, but don't act solely on my opinion, is what I'm trying to say. And please don't be too nasty to me when something I say doesn't work out as expected, because that's FPL. A lot of things don't work out as expected, and it's not very nice to blame somebody, really. And although this person wasn't really blaming me, he was kind of being nice to me in a way. But it did bring me down a little bit. I think he was a bit peeved off. I was celebrating Sterling when he'd sold him. Understandable, I guess. No one likes somebody boasting away on Twitter, do they? I wasn't really boasting. I was just happy that I'd finally got some Sterling blooming points, to be honest with you. As you should do. If you get points, celebrate them, peeps, because it's not often, is it, we get something to celebrate in this game. It's more, I'd say it would be 70% this season, more like 80% misery and 20% something to celebrate, because to be honest, this is probably the first time all season, apart from getting Anderson off my bench last week, this is the first time I've had something to get excited about, some points, especially from Chelsea. So anyway, peeps, I'm off now, and enjoy your international break, and I'll try and get back at some stage. Hopefully we'll get some wars or something kicking off on Twitter, because it's so bloody quiet. We haven't had anything, no dramas, have we, lately, to go on about. Anyway, peeps, I'm off now, so like and subscribe, listen to what I say, don't listen to it though, and pick your own bloody teams. Anyway, so I'm off now, so cheers for now then, peeps. Right, bye.